here's our chapter 9.5 homework assignment. For number 6, it's asking what pair of angles are adjacent to each other. It's kind of giving us this picture here. Remember, adjacent kind of goes with this neighbor phrase that we can be thinking about. Alright, so I'm looking for any two angles that are right next to each other. I can pick really any one of these angles. Let's say I pick this one. So I could say that angle EAB. And then I have to just pick one that's right next to it or share a common side. I'm going to pick this one down here and say that angle EAD. And those are adjacent. And why? Because they share a common side. That's all I need. For number 7, what pair of angles are vertical? This time I'm looking for any that are across and equal from each other. So I could use this angle right here, which is EAD. And then across and equal to it would be this one right here, which is angle BAC. And why are they vertical? Well, they are across and equal. All right, 8, 9, 10, 11 just has us go through the 4 angle types we've been talking about. For adjacent angles, I can pick really any two that are right next to each other. All right, so I could do CAD. And let's just choose that one right next to it, which is DAE. Again, adjacent, they just got to share a side together. For complementary, I'm looking for two angles that would give me a right angle. I know that this angle is right, meaning this angle is also right. If I look, that right angle is made up of two parts, BAC and CAD. If I put those two angles together, I get this full right angle. All right, next one, supplementary. Supplementary is when I have two angles that form a straight line. So I could use like this line, for example, and say, okay, what angles are making that up? Well, that's part of it, angle BAF. And angle FAE. Alright. Finally, vertical. Again, we're looking for any two angles that are kind of made from two intersecting lines. So I see this angle here, CAB. And across and equal to it would be FAE. Those would be vertical angles. Right. For 13, 14, 15, all we have to do is tell whether they are adjacent, vertical, or neither, and then explain. So again, adjacent, neighbor. Vertical would be across and equal. And equal. So let's see, my two angles in question here are this 95 and 60. Well, they're not next to each other, they don't share a common side. And yes, they are across, or sorry, they're not adjacent because they don't share the same side. They're not across, or they are across from each other, but they're not the equal part. So they're not two lines intersecting. So this would actually be a neither situation. Okay, these two put together, right, they share this common side right here. These would be adjacent. And then finally, these are two straight lines intersecting. They are equal to each other. This has to be vertical. 16, 17, 18 kind of has us do the same thing, this time with complementary and supplementary. Again, complementary and supplementary, anytime two angles add up to either 90 for complementary or 180 for supplementary. So looking at these two angles here, 122 plus 68 would give us 190. For supplementary, it has to be 180. So this this is a neither situation. These two, 42 and 48, looks pretty good. Let's just check it. 2 plus 8 is 10, and that would be 90. 90 degrees means these angles are complementary of each other. And then finally 59 and 31. Well, 59 plus 31 will give us 90 again, so this is complementary as well. So in these three examples, there's no supplementary. Nothing adds to 180. All right, now we're going to go through and kind of do the second part of this, which is kind of looking at, okay, solving for a certain value given the nature of the angles. So for my first one, I see that I have two different angles here, one called x, one called 35. And if I added them together, we get this 90-degree angle. So these angles are complementary. To just know what x is, I'm going to subtract by 35. And I get x is equal to 55 degrees. For 21, these two angles are made up of two straight lines intersecting each other. These means these are vertical. And any time we have vertical angles, we would say that they are equal, so x is equal to 128 degrees as well. Going back here, these were complementary. All right, 22. Now I've got two angles that are sitting along the same straight line. This means that these are supplementary. Again, supplementary meaning they add to 180. 180 is a straight line. So for this time, I'm going to do 117 plus x equals 180. All I got to do to solve for x is subtract by 117. And I get x is equal to, got to borrow here, 3, 6, and that's it. So x is equal to 63. For 24, I've got a right angle here and two angles that are creating it. This is complementary. And my two angles are 4x plus 2x, and they both add to 90 degrees. 4x plus 2x is 6x. And then to get x all by itself, we'll divide by 6. 90 divided by 6, we get an x value of 15. Finally, the last one here, I've got my straight line where both angles are sitting on it. This is supplementary. And so 3x plus 25 plus 2x is going to have to equal 180. Well, combining like terms, I get 5x plus 25 equals 180. To get x by itself, we'll subtract 25 from both sides, and I get 5x is equal to 155. Dividing both sides by 5, I get x is equal to, quick little division here, 5 doesn't go into 1, goes into 15 3 times. Drop down the 5, and I get x is equal to 31. All right. 29. What is the measured angle, or what is the measure of each angle formed by the intersection? So this time we have to kind of use two different things to kind of tell us what this is. The first thing I see is that these are vertical angles. They're made from two intersecting lines. So we could say that angle 2 is equal to 50 degrees. For angle 1, right, angle 1 is just 50 degrees and this other angle to create this straight line path. So I know for angle 1, right, we'll call it x plus 50 has to equal 180 because it's giving me a straight line. subtract both sides by 50 to figure out that x has to be 130, so angle 1 is 130 degrees. And then if I look at this picture again, I see that angle 1 and angle 3 are vertical from each other. Therefore, angle 3 also has to be 130 degrees. And again, we could say that this was vertical, this is supplementary to angle, we could call it angle 2, and then this is vertical to angle 1. All right, last two says find all the angle measures in the diagram. So we need to find this, and we need to find that. All right. So let's kind of take a look at this picture. What I notice here is that this right angle, this 8x angle, and this x angle all happen to make up this straight line right here. So if I took x plus my right angle 90 plus 8x, all of those are creating a straight line or a 180-degree angle. So this might be really easy to figure out x, because all I have to do now is kind of combine my like terms, which is 9x plus 90. And if I take away that right angle, all I have left is 9x equals 90. Divide by 9, and x is equal to 10. So, with that being the case, we could say that this angle is 10 degrees, and this angle, 8x, would be 80 degrees. 8 times 10 is 80. For 33, the angles that I want to figure out would be these. And again, all three of these angles here are making up this straight line. So I could say 3x plus 5 plus 75 plus x gives me 180. 5 plus 75 is 80. X and 3x make 4x. So I've got 4x plus 80 equals 180. Subtract both sides by 80. And we get 100 is equal to 4x. And then dividing by 4, x has to be 25. So for this one, 3 times 25 is 75, plus 5 is 80 degrees. 75 stays the same. This stays 25. All right, there's all of our homework problems for 9.5. Make sure you use this as a guide to help you complete this lesson 9.5.